All right, what's up, guys? This is once again the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you guys. It's that time again, the end of the week, beginning of the week, I don't know, middle of the week, whenever you're watching this. When I talk about some of the things that I've seen in the past week that I just didn't have time to address, I stay very busy. Prioritizing, guys, prioritizing. Got to be the single dad that I am, doing the best that I can with a very active teenager who is doing great. He's doing great in school. He's playing football. He's doing great there. So I don't know, man. Hopefully, we're working our way up to a possible scholarship. Dare I hope? I don't know. But anyway, that's where my focus is. But I do want to speak on some of the things that I've seen in the past week that I think bear looking at. Okay, so let's start off with this. We're going to just jump right into this, guys. Let's see what we have here. You guys might have seen these stories. Okay, you can get in the comment section. Tell me how you felt about them when you saw them. But we're going to talk about this one first. Now, I saw this a few days ago, and I figured, okay, well, we see what's going on here, and it just seems here that what we have are a couple of kids who are looking to follow in the footsteps of the late Charlie Kirk, where they want to go onto college campuses and debate people and have people prove them wrong or whatever the case may be. And they chose to go to a historically black college, or they're starting with historically black university campuses. I don't know, guys. Look, I just kind of feel like timing is everything. Okay, so we know that black people, especially progressives, liberals, are in the process of deep, deep conditioning, being lied to, being misled. Now, there has to be some consideration for the state of black academia right now, okay? Because I don't bash or I don't discourage going onto these campuses and having healthy debate. But there are certain things, if you're smart and if you're wise, you have to consider. And going onto one of these campuses now, the way things are now, wearing a Make America Great Again hat, um, I don't know what you thought was going to happen, guys, but let's just take a look at what did happen, shall we? All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Oh my God. It's a riot. Oh my God, it's pandemonium. All right, as you can see, the guy, he has to have security escort him, and I guess there's a couple of others with him off of campus. Okay, so security had to escort them as they're being run off. And I think that it's unfortunate, that this has happened. I think that it's a shame, in the interest of debate and the fact that it is a university, which is historically where people go to have a healthy exchange of ideas, that this would happen. But once again, the climate, guys, timing is everything. And this is where we find ourselves now, right? So I just want to make a couple of other observations while we're talking about HBCUs here. By the way, guys, I don't know, like, I don't think that Charlie Kirk would have taken this approach. See, and this is what I'm kind of upset about, guys. I'm alarmed, I'm concerned by people wanting to do things in the spirit of Charlie Kirk and not really understanding what the man stood for. So it's kind of like a bastardized version of what Charlie Kirk stood for and what he was able to get done, which made him the phenomenon that he was, quite frankly. It's like, you don't do what Charlie Kirk did. You don't accomplish what he did by just being a run of the mill troll. You know what I mean? Like you just, I don't know, like think Howard Stern, like you're like a shock jock, like you're just going somewhere just to get a reaction. I have to wonder, were these guys really, really interested in a healthy, productive debate? Like, you know what I mean? Like you got to think about intention here. And of course, the people who are over here losing their freaking minds, they're not interested in debate either. All they saw was the red hat, the white guy, and they went crazy. All right, but let's take a look at this, guys. This is an influencer that I follow. Maybe many of you do also. And this is Dom Lucre. And he says, it's time to shut down every HBCU in America. It's time to shut down every HBCU in America, he says. All right, guys, let me just say something right here. We spend an awful lot of time in the Black community talking about how we are not a monolith. Not every Black person speaks alike. We don't want to be stereotyped and put into boxes based on skin color alone. But it seems like some of us are the worst when it comes to that very offense. Dom Lucre reacting to what happened to these white guys on the campus of this HBCU has concluded that every HBCU in America should be shut down. And of course, you had a lot of people agreeing with him, an overly emotional response, I might say. And all I got to say is, man, do you really think that on these HBCU campuses, there aren't Black people who agree with Charlie Kirk, who wanted to have healthy debate? You know, once again, guys, being judged by the worst of us, that's something that Black people, unfortunately, are afflicted with. That's what happens to us. We are always judged by the loudest, most ignorant of us, to the utter ignoring of those of us who have reasonable voices, which is the reason why my channel gets the views that it does, and more ignorant channels like, well, I think I was talking about the amazing Pucus gets all of the views that he gets because people want to amplify the negative. They want to amplify the most salacious, the most ignorant. You know what I mean? So everyone loves sharing clips of Black people doing terrible things, ignorant things, ridiculous things. But nobody's interested in the balance. No one's in, and you know what? I can live with that. I can live with that because I'm not in this for the accolades. I'm just pointing it out because I just think that it's bloody interesting. But one day somebody's going to break through, you know, who speaks sense, you know, and I don't know, more so I'm saying because there's plenty of people who's more you know, well known than me, you know, who do speak clearly and they speak common sense and things like that. I'm not by any means saying that I'm the only one and that you do get squashed for doing that completely. I'm just saying it's a lot harder to break through. So those of us who have broken through, who speak that, you know, common sense and intelligence and, you know, positivity and things like that, hats off to you. Absolutely. You know, much respect to you. But I'm just saying, this is what you get. You know, you get people like Don Lucre saying that regardless of the Black people on these historically Black college campuses who do appreciate and respect the messages of Charlie Kirk, you want to shut down all HBCUs based on these crazy park animals that you just saw in that last clip that are going crazy and yelling and screaming. And I mean, that was ridiculous. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that is what you get. But let me just show you guys something else that I think is very interesting. Okay. Let's look at something else here. Because while we're talking about the HBCUs, I want to make a point here. All right. Something you might consider. White enrollment is increasing at HBCUs. How will it impact the culture? Yes, guys, white enrollment is increasing at HBCUs. How could that be? Well, guys, vocabulary matters. And I think a lot of people believe that a historically Black college university means an exclusively Black college university. Because I hear so many people saying, well, why do you have to have your own university? Bro, it's just a matter of once again, American history. All right. these colleges were established at a time when segregation was the law of the land. Okay, and they had many people, philanthropists, things like that. Otherwise, these people, they never would have gotten an education. You know what I mean? So this is part of American history. It's a proud part of American history. And like I said before, they're not exclusive because as you can see with this article here, white enrollment is increasing at these universities. There are some white people who see value in the approach of these universities, the atmosphere of these universities. This is nothing new. But let me just read the opening paragraph so guys see what I'm talking about. It says, according to The Atlantic, since the early 1990s, the percentage of Black students at American colleges and universities has been in steady decline, as have enrollments at many of the nation's historically Black colleges and universities, otherwise known as HBCUs. With this in mind, it is unsurprising that many HBCUs have also seen a decrease in white enrollment. However, this trend is changing, with white enrollment increasing at HBCUs, and nobody runs them off, okay? So I want you guys to just chill with the narrative that it's not safe to be white on these college campuses. White enrollment is increasing. A study by The Atlantic found that the percentage of Black students at HBCUs has declined by more than a third since 1985, while the percentage of white students has increased by more than a third. This change is most notable at HBCUs with the highest percentage of white enrollment, such as Howard University and Spelman College. Yes, guys, it is possible at some point in the distant future that you will see a majority of white people attending a historically Black college university. Okay, so this is the fact of the matter. Okay, and if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. The real issue here is why is the enrollment of Black students decreasing, not just at HBCUs, but universities in general? Okay, so once again, the ball is back in the court of so-called Black people to clean up their backyard before they start looking at other people, running other people off the campuses and things like that. Maybe if they had conducted themselves better and organized something where they could have a healthy debate, maybe on on the world stage, maybe people could have seen what historically Black college universities are all about. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And speaking of being on a world stage, let me just share something else with you while I'm on this HBCU thing before I move on. Let's just look at this, guys. Little interesting side note here. We have this article here, HBCUGameDay.com. HBCU president defends plus-sized dance group after the game. Now, this was, September 28th, 2025. All right, here are these lovely ladies here. The HBCU community is reacting to a halftime controversy from Saturday's football game between Alabama State University and FAMU, Florida A&M University. Inside Bragg Memorial Stadium, Alabama State's Honeybees, the well-known plus-size dance team that performs with the mighty Marching Hornets, became the target of an offensive remark. As the Honeybees left the field after their performance, Florida A&M band announcer Joe Bullard called them the new face of Ozempic. Holy crap! Damn! The new face of Ozempic. The crowd reacted with shock and disgust soon after the incident spread on social media and quickly ignited outrage across the HBCU landscape. It reminds me of when Don Imus said something about nappy-headed hoes when he was talking about, I think it was the WNBA in the early days, right? Nappy-headed hoes. This is how people see these people, okay? Perhaps it was offensive to call them the new face of Ozempic. I imagine so. But when you have a dance group that looks like this, okay, there they are. All of them are plus sized, as you can see. Okay. All of them are smiling. All of them obviously put a lot of work into what it is that they do. Their outfits, the material used for the outfits, I imagine that was a good amount of material. So, yeah, so there you have it, causing a controversy there. But, guys, with all due respect, okay, listen, I am an overweight man. I am. I am. Men, we don't call ourselves plus size. We're fat asses. We know that we're fat asses. We know that we're out of shape. We say that we have dad bods, things like that. We don't tell people to call us big, beautiful men, and all of that. Women are a little bit different. Women like to feel beautiful, no matter what. However, there are health concerns. And guys, I talked about this with the whole Lizzo thing. Now, you see, Lizzo is trying to slim down right now after making it a big deal. Body positivity, accept me as I am, big and beautiful, things like that. But there's no getting around it, guys. One of the major, if not number one cause of death for Black women are weight-related illnesses, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all of these things. You see these women having to have amputations and things like that. We're not doing very well carrying babies to term, infant mortality rates, mothers dying in childbirth, in various stages of pregnancy. These are practical concerns, guys. All right. So even though the announcer, while I do agree, was offensive with what he said, this is an issue, guys. This can't be the ideal. This can't be the norm. Like I applaud these women for doing something positive. As far as I know, they're not out somewhere, twerking online. Maybe some of them are. I don't know. But the point is, guys, if you love our women, if you love Black women, you got to tell them the truth. This is just not acceptable. You have to take better care of yourself. Men, we have to take better care of ourselves. I always tell myself that all the time. As big as I am and everything, there are some things that I won't eat. There are some things that, like, I got to know when to back away from the table, basically. You know what I mean? And I have to be honest with myself about that, dietary issues. So, yeah, man, it's important. It's so important, to do better, man. So, I mean, that's what's going on with the HBCU situation. I just wanted to point a few of those things out. All right, let me just scroll through a couple of these other things. Guys, you might want to check this out, by the way. I have been looking at this. Some people have been talking about the movie from 1998, I believe it was, Snake Eyes, and how there's an eerie, comparable situation here to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. If you look at it, you see that it stars Nicolas Cage. He gets winged in the ear and it hits a policy. You see, he gets winged in the ear, kind of like Trump, and it ends up hitting a politician by the name of Charles. See, there he is. He gets shot in the neck. His name is Charles Kirkland. And what they're saying is that in the movie, he is shot on September 10th. Although somebody pointed out that it looks like it's September 10th, but it's more likely September 19th. But yeah, so Charles Kirkland gets shot by a boxer, I believe it is, who goes by the name Tyler the Executioner. Now, in real life, Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a man called, or Tyler, his name was Tyler Robinson, I believe it was. So Charles Kirkland is assassinated by Tyler the Executioner. And in real life, Charlie Kirk is assassinated by Tyler Robinson. Okay. So, I don't know, guys. I thought that was bloody interesting, guys. I don't know. The Matrix is glitching. Okay. You guys tell me. Yeah, I am that conspiracy theorist guy. But guys, guess what? If you've been paying attention, a lot of the things that conspiracy theorists have talked about over the years have come to pass. Shout out to Alex Jones, man. No matter how you might feel about him, some of the things he says, man, it has been on point. All right, so going past that, Let me just talk about some entertainment things, guys. As you know, James Gunn doesn't know when to shut the F up. All he does is talk all the time. And it seems like every day this dude is saying something that takes me away from being any type of enthusiastic about what's going on with the DCU, guys. You know, I try to follow these comic book movies, guys. I grew up reading comic books and things, and I don't know, man. This dude is making it difficult. So he said something that reminded me of a video that I did like a while ago. And let's talk about this because he's talking about normies versus, I guess it's geeks or nerds or real hardcore fans of these comic books and comic book movies. So he says, this is James Gunn on differentiating the DCU Batman and Matt Reeves' Batman. He says, one of the weirdest things for me is that big fans are often like, well, listen, I understand this, but normies will never understand this. Casuals will never understand this. But the truth is, guys, you're you're the ones that don't understand. The casuals, the normies, always understand. Oh my God. What? What? Are you serious? James Gunn, are you serious? Bro, you made a lot of money, whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy, whether it's Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, whatever it is that you did, right? You made a lot of money off of hardcore fans of these comic book movies, right? We're the ones that give you that boost, that give you that momentum. This dude just backsmacked all of us fans by saying, you guys get it wrong. You guys don't understand. What we want are the normies. Now, guys, this is what I was talking about before. This is the reason why I don't harp on numbers. Everyone's like, oh, this has got to make 1 billion. This one didn't make 1 billion. Bro, I do not care. And I was talking about that. I said, when did we care? When did we start counting the studio's money? When did we start counting James Gunn's money and his paycheck? All I want is a good story. All I want is a good movie. Something that reminds me of the stories that I grew up reading. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be spiffy. That would be wonderful. But no, what we get are a crop of movies that are more concerned with checking boxes, with virtue signaling, identity politicking, appealing to everybody that it possibly can out there. Every normie. If you're gay, come on in. If you're black, come on in. If you're woman, come on in. If you're a white guy, nah, stay outside. I get that seems to be what it is because white guys are known to be the nerds and the geeks and things like that. That's what he's talking about, basically, right? But everybody else, because we're just supposed to be that needy to see ourselves, once again, completely neglecting and ignoring guys like me who have been here the whole time, right? I'm just supposed to lap it up because this is what they gave us. So this is what I was talking about with Black Panther. When I said that when I went in to see Black Panther, I was surprised. I went in to see a comic book movie that I thought was going to be good. When I ended up seeing, I was surrounded by a bunch of normie black people who were looking for some type of social movement. And that's what pushed it over 1 billion. It wasn't us. It's not the comic book fans that do that. It is the normies, right? Whether they understand it or not. And of course they don't, which is the reason why T'Challa is dead and we can't get him back because they felt like, well, we got the women. We got the normies. Normies don't give, the women normies don't give a shit about T'Challa Black Panther. They didn't grow up reading the comic. They don't know anything about it. But female empowerment, we got this. And that's what he's talking about. You know what I mean? So I don't really care, you know, about what makes 1 billion or what doesn't. I enjoyed Fantastic Four. It was a solid movie to me. It flopped because the normies don't know better, as James Gunn said. The normies are good for a trend. The normies are not the ones who have maintained these things and sustained them all of these years. The normies didn't sustain Star Wars in between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy and the so-called sequel trilogy. It wasn't the normies who did that. It was the hardcore fans. It wasn't the normies who brought Star Trek back after being off the air. It was the hardcore fans. And until these people get that, then you're going to be on this seesaw. You're going to be talking about comic book fatigue. It's not the big fans who get comic book fatigue. We get shitty movie fatigue. That's about what we get. So James Gunn, you keep on chasing after those normies, bruh. Keep on doing that. See what it gets you. All right? Because a lot of us are turned off to this. I can tell you that, guys. All right. Let me talk one more thing. Actually, a couple more things. All right. Actually, you know what? I'm going to jump off of this whole James Gunn thing because I want to talk about something that's very, very important to me, guys. You guys know that my videos are no longer monetized. Now, I can't go back and demonetize all of the old videos. If you watch an old video, yeah, you're going to see some ads on there. Okay. But going forward, I told you guys I'm not going to be monetizing my videos. And here is the reason why. Now, I dropped my views on this and basically you get crickets. So what I'm assuming is that a lot of you are waiting for your favorite YouTuber or a social media personality to feed this to you to tell you that you care. Until then, I'm going to just wait for everyone to catch up, and I'm going to let you know the reasons why. And this is a good example of what I'm talking about, all right? Listen to the words of the Israeli prime minister here, all right? And tell me what you hear. Hopefully you can hear this. If not, I'll break it down to you. All right, let's just check this thing out, guys. Okay.
The weapons change over time. Christian influences. He said, talked about the woke right. He said, I call it the woke right. That's a brilliant.
He just called the right, the woke right, the woke right, he says. Okay, if you didn't hear it, if you can't hear it, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this plays so low, but let me let this play.
He said, talked about the woke right. He said, I call it the woke right. That's a brilliant. The woke right, because these people, you know, they're not any different from the woke left. I mean, they're insane. But they're actually meeting on something. And what we have to do is we have to secure that.
Just in case you aren't hearing this, he's saying that the right is no different than the left. They're all crazy. This is a foreign leader, okay? Leader of a foreign country talking about our country of America. The left, the right, they're equally as crazy, he says.
Part of our base of our support of the United States, that is being challenged systematically. A lot of this is done with money. Money of NGOs, vast. Money of governments, faster. Okay? We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Our influence.
He says we have to fight back. We have to fight back against people being against what it is that he's trying to do. Basically, you have to fight back against free speech is what he's alluding to. All right, let's go on with this, guys. All right.
How do we fight back? Our influence. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance. To that community, they're very important. Yeah. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords because it doesn't work very well. Okay? And you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. You have these new things. You know, like
this thing is so low. I know you can't hear it, but
we have to fight.
Turn it up.
That apply to the battlefield. Okay? And the most important ones are social media. The most important purchase that is going on right now is TikTok.
The most important purchase that's going on right now, TikTok. TikTok is the most important purchase. This is the prime minister of a foreign country saying that TikTok, a tool of influence, a tool of battle, he said, those were his words, a tool of battle is the most important purchase right now. They want to control social media. This is what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, guys. I don't know if you can hear that, so I don't know if I can continue to go waste time playing that. But look it up. I'll see if I can leave a link in the pinned comment below. All right. Basically, what he's saying is that TikTok, he goes on to say X or Twitter is very important. They recently purchased interest in YouTube, which is the reason why I decided to stop monetizing my videos, because I don't want this propaganda, this hasbara, to be playing underneath my videos. All right. I don't want any foreign country's interest or propaganda to be played underneath my videos. We're not talking about being anti-Semitic. We're not talking about being anti-Palestine. We're talking about being anti-American. That's what's the most important to me. Okay. And this man, these people are being anti-American because we do have something called a constitution. We do have our amendment rights. We do have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. That's what America has. We don't kick down doors. We don't bomb places out of fucking existence. We don't starve children and women and innocent human beings to death. We don't wage war on the land. We don't, well, I'm not saying we don't do that, but I'm just saying that we have rights here. Okay. So what this guy is talking about is scary. And the scariest thing about it is the silence of people who are hearing this and are saying nothing. We're talking about your influencers who are out there. All right, guys, let me just show you a quick example of what I'm talking about because we're already starting to see the effects of this. Check this out. Now, I don't know who the hell these people are, right? But check this out. I know you'll be able to hear this.
Try it all again.
Check this out.
Imagine supporting people who start wars just to lose the wars so they can cry about it and then try it all again.
You must see anti-Semites are literally obsessed with Jews. Now walk with me. While you must see anti-Semites are stacking eviction notices, Jews are out here stacking up businesses.
Jews control all the industries. Maybe if you spent more time taking notes from successful people, you wouldn't have to spend your nights and weekends spreading hate from your anonymous account with an anime profile picture.
Okay. She just said Jews control all the industry. I thought if you said that, you were being false. I thought you were being anti-Semitic. This is weird to me. But now this is a bragging point. Jews control all the industries, and then they go on to insult everyone else for not controlling the industry.
Well, you wouldn't have to spend your nights and weekends spreading hate from your anonymous account with an anime profile picture.
Do you work as hard as Jews? Do you network like Jews? No, because you're too busy cheering on a group of musty terrorists who smell like dirty earring backs.
Oh, oof. Musty terrorists. Okay, so because they're saying terrorists, I guess that makes it acceptable. But you guys know what they're talking about here. Okay, they're talking about people. All right, like I said, listen. If you want to play games with names and stuff, that's fine. But I think we know what's going on here. I think you know what's being implied here. That what's going on over there in Gaza, or whatever, is well deserved. All right, whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. But I'm just saying the propaganda is real. Okay. So here we go.
Do you work as hard as Jews? Do you network like Jews? No, because you're too busy cheering on a group of musty terrorists who smell like dirty earring backs. And if we're going to keep it real, you're really mad because your income is giving side hustle.
Period.
How you going to hate from outside, Shabbat? You can't even get in.
See, this is the reason why I have demonetized my videos, because no one is going to accuse me of hating or being jealous of people making money off this platform. I have a job. My job, it keeps me comfortable. It takes care of my son and I. That's all I'm asking for. Life is limited. It goes by fast. I don't need to be fucking filthy rich. I don't need to own all the industries. I don't need to do all that stuff. All right. So I can let it go. I know some people do this as a living. I don't, and I can't.
Imagine support.
Okay, so as you can see, it's starting. That's on TikTok. All right, now here's another one on TikTok. I just want you guys to see what's going on, guys.
Of a special focus group for Christian conservatives. Yesterday, I got the honor of meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu as part of a special focus group for Christian conservative Gen Zers, and we were essentially addressing the concerns that we had, right? There's clearly been a growing divide. He wanted to know why. He wanted to know what Israel could be doing better. He wanted to understand where we were coming from, and to his credit, he did listen to us extremely attentively and took in a lot of what we were saying.
Well, listen, guys, when is it ever okay for a foreign leader to be this deep in American concerns and influence? Guys, this is crazy. Once again, we're not talking about being anti-Semitic. We're not talking about being anti-Palestinian. The issue is this anti-American? That's what the issue is here. Yo, this is weird, man. Get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this.
right, and we were there also trying to form more unity, we were asking him the hard questions that a lot of people from our generation have been raising concerns about. For example, and the same way he listened to us and took in our criticisms, I'm truly hoping that you guys will listen to the answer. APAC. APAC is something that I see all the time. Number one, APAC is not an Israeli organization. It has no ties whatsoever to the government of Israel. It's not foreign lobbying. It's a lobbyist group that happens to be lobbying for a certain group of people, right? And this is not unique to Israel. There are multiple countries.
Okay, and she's saying this because, of course, she had a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, right? As you can see, there she is standing with him, a conservative Christian young woman from Generation Z. Okay, so guys, you tell me, is this healthy? Is this right? Maybe I got it wrong, guys. Listen, I don't need to be right. I just want to understand. That's all. I want to understand how this is good for us as Americans to have a foreign government expressing their concerns and influencing our sensibilities, buying up interests the way that they are. You guys tell me how this is good for us, because when I talk about it, like I said, I get crickets, but I think sooner or later, more people are going to start to understand. More people are going to start talking about it, and then maybe you'll understand what I've been talking about. But yeah, guys, there it is. Those are just a few things, man. There are just so many things that I've been seeing out here that's been catching my eye. Hopefully, I'll get more time to talk about some of this. But you guys can get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about all or any one of those issues. Okay, so it's your turn. All right. Thank you guys for listening. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Somebody told me I should start a Patreon. Maybe I'll look into doing that. Until then, there is a Cash App in the pinned comment below as well. All right, guys. Thank you for rocking with me, and I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.